You're going to hear from John Hardin, who was a member of our working group, who also was one of the masterminds behind the video on North Carolina's Innovation Reconstruction Imperative that you saw yesterday. But I do want to do two bits of housekeeping before I introduce John to you. First of all, again, for those of you who weren't here yesterday, if you're wondering if there is Wi-Fi, there is Wi-Fi available. The network is IEI Forum, and the password is issues 15. Also, if you have not already downloaded the app, which thank you all for all the nice things you've said about the app. Our operations team at IEI worked really hard on making that happen. Please go ahead and download it because we will be using it again today. Now, it gives me great pleasure to call to the stage this wonderful executive director of the North Carolina Board of Science, Technology, and Innovation, and a really terrific partner to the Institute for Emerging Issues. Please join me in welcoming John Hardin.
Thank you, Anita, and good morning, everyone. It is a real pleasure to be here and to see so many people talking about innovation. Innovation is the fuel of the modern economy. I think that came out loud and clear yesterday. And the board that I work for, that I'm the executive director for, the North Carolina Board of Science, Technology, and Innovation, has been promoting innovation in North Carolina since 1963. It was the first ever state-level science and technology board created in the U.S. by statute. Many of you may have never heard of the Board of Science, Technology, and Innovation, partly because it used to be called, until just recently, the Board of Science and Technology. But many of you have heard of things that the board has created here in North Carolina, such as the North Carolina Biotechnology Center, the School of Science and Math, and MCNC, just to name 3 institutions. But it also is active in running grant programs that help small businesses commercialize new innovative technologies. And so we try to focus on the innovation ecosystem in the state and make sure that it is as strong and as healthy as possible. So I appreciated the opportunity that Anita gave me to participate in the working groups that identified the topics that you all addressed yesterday in the innovation labs. As you heard yesterday, North Carolina has significant innovation assets, and they provide a solid base on which to build. But the question is, what should we prioritize? That question was the focus of the work that you all did yesterday in the innovation labs. And I ducked in and out of all those sessions, at least the ones that I could get into. A lot of them were standing room only and people were overflowing. But I ducked in and out of those. And it was interesting, really interesting to see the energy that was going on and the discussions that were going on. And I almost felt like I was intruding upon their space. And so I tried to be invisible most of the time. But as someone who wakes up thinking about innovation every day, it was really, really gratifying to see all of that. People really took the task very seriously. So at the end of the lab sessions, including the virtual sessions that occurred at the Emerging Issues Commons online, the IEI staff took the highest rated ideas and brought them together into a single consolidated list. And our goal today is to take this larger list and through a voting process that's going to happen later today just before lunch, narrow it down even further to identify the top priorities. So let me walk you briefly through the ideas that emerged from the labs yesterday. And as Anita just mentioned, you will see a listing of these ideas available through the app in the Your Strategies for Reconstructing Innovation. Although, Anita, I must admit, I worked so hard to have different passwords that I couldn't remember the password for my to download apps, and so I couldn't download the app, so I'm sorry about that. I erred on the side of security, but it limited my functionality. All right. So here are the 9 ideas that you all came up with. Now these are not exactly like the 5 categories of work groups that we had yesterday, because what we've done is we've taken these and collapsed them into meta categories, and you will see these listed on the monitor. They were in 5 categories here. Number 1, deepening awareness of opportunities. So the goal here was to educate the public and our leaders about emerging sectors to promote supportive policies and actions. So the key here is education about emerging sectors. First category. The second category was improving our civic connections. There were 3 strategies there. The first one was to form public-private leadership groups to drive the development of our innovation ecosystems. Public-private is a word you hear often these days, and that's because it's important. It takes both. It takes the public and the private sector. The second recommendation in that group was to make schools community innovation hubs, incorporating public-private partnerships to promote learning. And number 3 was to connect underrepresented groups and places to existing innovation ecosystems. North Carolina doesn't have just a single innovation ecosystem. It has multiple innovation ecosystems, many of them very strong, and it's important to tie in the ones that are less strong into those stronger ecosystems. Okay, the third category was enhancing the workforce/human capital pipeline. So the first strategy there was to teach skills and behaviors that promote innovation, particularly to students in underrepresented groups and places. Second strategy in that group was to develop programs to engage students around STEM subjects and emerging sectors such as ag bio and energy. The fourth category, building the infrastructure that we need. There were 2 recommendations here. The first was to develop an infrastructure that supports innovation across the state, such as highways and reliable, and all 3 of these matter, reliable, affordable, and secure broadband. The second strategy under that group was to create tech-based software platforms that promote collaborative approaches to community problem solving. One word that comes up repeatedly here is collaboration. And what's interesting is this came from 5 different groups, and collaboration is an idea that emerged from all of those. And finally, in the last category, cultivating the next generation of innovation leaders, the recommendation was to cultivate, train, and empower leaders who support and use data and collaborative technologies to drive decision-making. So that's a great list. We have a very thoughtful list to choose from. That list came from you all. I can already tell that we're going to walk out of here today, at the end of the day, with an even more prioritized list, and I look forward to seeing all the action that comes from that. Thank you.